Hello everyone, happy I'm back. I'm just back, not with the reaction. This time we're going in with your music Q&As. I chucked it out the other week. I said, give me some music Q&As. Let's get to know each other a bit better. Let's talk about music. That's what this channel is pretty much about. It's just about music. Sometimes there's a couple of bits about me in there, but however, it's all just about music and what you guys like me to react to, vibe with and all that jazz. So I chucked it out there. You sent them back. Let's answer them. Wouldn't be one of them without it. Oh. Ooh. Alright, super windy out, so I don't know how much of that is going to interfere with this. However, we're just going to keep going. If a hurricane comes in, we'll just keep answering as we're spinning up in the bloody twister. I'm going to try and keep them short and concise answers, short and sweet. That's how we like it. However, sometimes they may get a bit longer, so let's just get into it and let's just see what we get. Alright, first question. Is there a band or artist that you've always wanted to check out but never have? A lot. I've got a huge long list of artists and things like that that I wish I could get to in terms of reaction. I could just listen to them on my own. However, because I want to get to them in reaction based, you know, I just don't get around to them. Like Hosea, I really want to get into his music, and I really want to just get into other singers or bands, discographies that I've started. So nothing in particular, but yeah, there is a lot of stuff that I want to get to that I just simply do not have the time to. Unless I hire someone to edit my videos, and I would be sweet. I could just keep recording, give them the footage, go edit. However, I think we're a long way off that yet. This one is going to be hard. 3 albums that shaped you and your music taste. I guess like shaping would be like from your foundation years, like when you're younger. Avril Lavigne, Under My Skin would absolutely be one that really shaped me. The Veronica's The Secret Life Of really shaped me, and I would probably say Hilary Duff's Dignity album. They're just 3 albums that come to me when there was just a pinnacle moment within my teenage years that I just needed these albums to get me through stuff. Music taste, I suppose they are what I really love, like sad, meaningful lyrics. They're all lyrical based albums, strong women singing them, sad but poppy little ballads too. Yeah, so I guess that they really did. Like, I love pop music, I love chickadees singing, I love sad lyrics, I love meaningful lyrics, and I guess cohesive pieces of work that really mean something to the artist. So I guess I answered it. It wouldn't be a Q&A without these types of questions, right? What's your favorite album, types of music to put on during intimate times? I don't really have one, and I don't know if that's shocking or if that's quite normal. I don't need music on to kind of do those things, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. I mean, anything that's playing, I suppose. If the summer's on, then intimate times happen, then they happen, but there's nothing that comes to mind. I don't know, maybe I'm quite boring when it comes to that. I don't need music when other senses are being stimulated. What's your favorite era of music? I really like the 2000s, 2010s. It's so funny because me and my family, we literally watched the top songs from like the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. I think the 80s do have some of the best music in terms of like just what it was and what it set the foundations for the following years. 90s, while I grew up with it, I think I really tuned in more with the 2000s, I guess, as a younger little bennshouts. So probably say the 2000s only because there's probably more nostalgia there. I know so much of the 80s because I grew up listening to that from my parents. Oh, I don't know. I think that's quite hard to answer. It really depends on your mood, but I probably would go with the 2000s. I'm gonna lock it in, Eddie. In your opinion, what artist or band do you think changed and influenced the music we listen in today's era? Kind of like how the Beatles cemented the 60s and 70s era of music. Probably say in terms of like pop music, I would say Gaga really changed the scope of music, and not that Madonna hadn't already done a lot of those things. I think just in terms of the 2000s, Gaga came out and, you know, put dance music back on pop radio and really changed, you know, music videos, the art, the fashion, and not necessarily changed it, but I guess brought back what had kind of been lost throughout the 90s and 2000 or like early 2000s. So I would say Gaga really did pave the way for that kind of stuff, and I know Lana Del Rey's done that in terms of, you know, that really depressing sad girl kind of movement. I know she's been responsible for a lot of that stuff too. It's just Gaga is obviously a powerhouse, and you know, when you get into mainstream, you really do have a lot of control. If you looked at pre and post Gaga, you can just see how the pop chickadees just really changed and I guess allowed themselves to be a lot freer. And I know that that's what Madonna did, you know, 30, 40 years ago. So I think it's cool how there's always one chickadee coming along and bringing it back to, you know, what matters, and that's about creativity, authenticity, and all that stuff. So yeah, I'd say her. Oh, this is a long one. Do you think Grimes has been on a downward slope since Art Angels? I love the album, and in my opinion, I still can't say that name, Miss Anthropology was a step downward in quality, like less catchy and more deep, but superficially, because the album's messages and themes are really malformed, and so I don't think it really works. If you like that album, her newest music is a massive flop, like that track Simping for Elon Musk. So that was a lot. No, I don't know, listen to Grimes and I want to know what other Grimes I think it's hard, and this happens with a lot of artists, when you have a Magnus Opium, is that what they call like their best album? And I would say for Grimes, I would agree that Art Angels is that album. It's like Gaga's Fame Monster, the Veronica's Hook Me Up, anything post, it's very hard to live up to that. And I think as artists, I was reading an article and an artist said, you know, by your third or fourth album, a lot of artists do slow it down. They do, I guess, get within themselves a bit more. So that's why it can come across like it's a step down in, you know, quality production, because they're not putting, I guess, as much of that in. I think they've done it. So I think for artists, it's hard. And it's hard to know what's their best work, because I'm sure some people will say Art Angels isn't her best. I mean, I guess is the music she's releasing now a real reflection of what's going on in her life, and maybe she's in this toxic relationship with Elon, so I guess that's really reflected in the music, and maybe it's harder for us to relate to it because it's not stuff you want to hear from someone, I guess, you idolize. I don't know. While I love Art Angels, I don't know if I could say that she's stepped down in music. I think she's just evolving and doing different stuff, and it's hard as fans when you get so fixated on music and it's all you listen to, whereas an artist, they'll spend 1 to 2 years on it and then release it and not go back and listen to it. So I think it's harder for fans to adjust because an artist has already moved on for an album generally before it's released because they've spent so much time with it already. Good question though, very thought-provoking. I'm already out of breath though. Alright, John, John, Timestamp King, here's coming in as always with a million questions. We love it, we live for it. How is you today? I'm very good. It's nice and, it's actually freezing. I don't know why I didn't put a sweater on or anything, but the wind is blowing a gale. It's cold, just chilling. I feel like I just haven't been able to chat with everyone for a while. Glad that today I just get to sit down and answer some cues and just, yeah, have some fun. So I'm good. How are you? Do you and birthday boy Ian have any favorite musicians in common? If so, which ones? We actually have quite a few similar favorite artists, which is I think why. Well, we do, and then we really don't. Ian's very much a dance, like flume, like doof 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 doof. I'm very like dirty, you know, little rap chickadees. Whereas I kind of cater into that, but I'm definitely more of a sad chickadee. However, he is now in love with Ethel Cain. Thank you to me. Ones we have in common though, I mean, like everything that what do we listen to? Charlie XCX, Ash Nico, Melanie, Lord. I think I brainwashed him enough to like the Veronicas. Pretty much we're both very pop-driven people. I just really cater into that more indie, little sad vibes, and he like puts his little toes in and I put my little toes in his. They're kind of like a mixture, and I guess in the car it will just be like taking turns in choosing music. However, usually when he puts it on, I'm like, alright, next song, give me something I like. So I think he just caters to what I like mostly. It's pretty similar, I would say. Are there any musicians that you've discovered love outside that you've reacted to on YouTube? Which ones are your favorite at the moment? Actually none, which is the hardest part because all my music generally now is coming from YouTube. I feel almost guilty or that, oh, I could react to this, so I put things off. But at the moment, it's just Ethel Cain is probably the biggest thing that I'm listening to outside of YouTube. And I know I found her from YouTube, but it's really all I've been listening to for like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks since the album came out. So nothing that I've discovered outside of YouTube. Everything really comes from you guys. And yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad. What is your top personal playlist if you have any? I do. It's my indie playlist. It's on Apple Music, I think, on the profile. I don't have a Spotify, so I can't, you know, like share it. But it's just every little indie or sad little chill vibe that I've ever heard. I've chucked in this one playlist. I think it goes for like 15 hours. So that's the one I go to if I just want to chill. It's really my only playlist, to be honest. So that one. Two-parter. Any favorite soundtrack from movies or TV series? What are your favorite artists you discovered from movies, TV series? My favorite movie soundtrack is Looking for Ella Brandy and Aaron Brockovich. Cruel Intentions. They're also my 3 favorite movies of all time, so go figure. Suddenly 30 also has a really good movie soundtrack. So does Twister, I would say, as well. Some of my favorite artists discovered from TV shows: The Fray, Snow Patrol. I mean, that is quintessential, like 2005, 2006, Grey's Anatomy at its peak. Those 2 bands came from it. They've got some amazing, amazing albums. I've seen them live. They're probably the 2 biggest bands that I've fallen in love with from a TV show. Thank you, John, for being amazing, for timestamping and for answering these questions. They're also cool, like very in-depth and made me think. So yeah, thank you. Keep being amazing. Keep being you. Would you be down to listen to more experimental electronic? I feel like experimental, I've definitely gone down that route. Like 100 Gex, they are absolutely that. Like hyperpop is all very experimental for me. People like the Ken Brothers, Flying Lotus, or Flume, which is funny because that's one of Ian's favorites, Flume. I still need to get onto his album. So yes, I'm down for any type of music. If you go through my channel, there is no cohesivity, no consistency. It jumps from the 80s to the 90s. Like it just goes all over. So I'm always down for anything. What are your favorite albums of the year so far? Ethel Cain, Preacher's Daughter is absolutely my #1 favorite. Leaky Lee's album. The Weekends that come out this year. Maybe not, maybe late last year, but definitely Ethel Cain at the moment is all I care about. Yeah, definitely my favorite of the year. Has your opinion of a musician band changed since seeing them live? Only that they're better than you expect. Like when I first saw Gaga, I was like, oh my god, she's actually amazing. Imagine Dragons stands out for me. I got free tickets and I went. You know, knew some of their songs, but after seeing them live, I was like, oh my god, they are absolutely incredible live. Angels and Airways is probably my biggest letdown. I saw them at a Soundwave microwave and they played my favorite song, like one of my favorite songs of all time, and it just didn't sound as good. So I don't know if that was just the expectation of me going in. So it definitely kind of changed it for me, but I've just tried to blank out that memory because the song means so much to me. But yeah, other than that, nah, just things, they always just get better when you see them live. What are you currently looking forward to the most? I guess this is musical based. It could be anything. Musical based, like a new Veronica album, if that will ever come, absolutely that. I'm excited for Rena's new album, Melanie's new album. They're probably the two that come to mind. Favorite Avril Lavigne album and song ever. This is so easy. Under My Skin is my favorite album by her of all time, and my favorite song of all time by Avril Lavigne is Get Over It, which is very cool because she just put it on the Let Go 20th anniversary edition. It was a B-side on Skater Boy, but yeah, I remember playing that more than Skater Boy the song. Get over it, get onto it. What's a song that when you close your eyes transports you to the most peaceful place? Any song from the Aaron Brockovich soundtrack. Yeah, it just makes me transport to that movie, just driving down that red little highway that she does. Yeah, I could just be there in that moment forever. Best new music band or artist discovery, definitely Ethel Cain. I know in a lot of these Q&As I start repeating myself, but it's because they're all just quite interlocking. Ethel Cain, if you haven't heard her, if you haven't listened to her, go check her out. It's absolutely incredible music if you like really depressing stuff. Do you think Charlie XCX could beat you up? Absolutely. I try, but I think she would win for sure. Let's ride. This is going to be depressing, but what songs will we play at a funeral? Not depressing. Well, it is depressing, but I have a whole funeral playlist. It goes for hours and hours, like just all these sad songs, but I did narrow it down to some all-time favorites. I called it Funeral All-Time, so these are the ones that are in there. There's 5 songs. The Adventure by Angels and Airwaves, Bittersweet Sympathy by The Verve, Don't Know How to Pronounce the Name by Sigur, Sights by London Grammar, and With or Without You by Hamish Cowan. So yeah, that is my top 5 funeral playlists. Love them. They're such good songs. I can't wait to be dead and hearing them in the bloody afterlife, rocking out, watching people cry, all that jazz. Any Blackpink favorite? Yeah, everything that I've reacted to on my channel, I've loved by them. I don't think I've heard a flop by them. Boomba, yeah. I love that song actually. It's probably my favorite. Boomba, yeah. An album that you feel would fit your life currently? That's a hard one. I think I would actually probably go with The Weeknd's Dawn FM, just like that journey to, you know, heaven, the afterlife. I'm kind of just like going through the motions, doing stuff here and there, trying to live life to my fullest, and then constantly having these, you know, underlying thoughts of that we're gonna die sort of thing. So yeah, Dawn FM. Hello, Cruzy. What is your favorite instrument or sound design element you love to hear in a track? An organ and violins absolutely kill me. Any real life noises like chatter, voice memos, studio sounds, planes flying over. But absolutely an organ just gets me every time. If I could listen to an organ for the rest of my life in every single song I would, like in some way, shape or form. It's honestly the best sound. Have you ever considered writing music? I have. I kind of have done it. Like years and years ago with a friend, we wrote some songs together. I do writing that I think could be incorporated through songs, and I'd love to work with musicians in terms of writing music. It's one of my favorite things to do. I think I'm pretty decent at it. I've always wanted to write with people. So yes, yes and yes. If you're out there, if you want me to write with you, hit me up. This one isn't a question, I just want to chuck it in to give me a like ego boost. I spent hours watching your videos, such a cool energy. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Makes me happy. What's your favorite Charlie XCX song? I'm gonna say Crash. And be a local. It's just so good. I do love Vroom Vroom though, like let's ride. Like that just gets ya going. But Crash is probably, is it Crash? No, it's Good Ones. Oh my god. Good Ones is my favorite song on Crash. Crash isn't my favorite album though. Lightning is still such a bad song. But anyway, Good Ones, Good Ones, Good Ones. Do you play any instruments or sing? I don't, unfortunately. I mean, I sing, I just don't sing well, but no, I don't have any musical talent in that sense, unfortunately. What are your favorite Arca songs? My top 3 are Non-Binary, Tara, and Rakata. I love your videos, by the way. Thank you. I don't actually know if I would have a top 3 Arca. They're not an artist I go and listen to a lot for obvious reasons if you've watched my reaction channel. It's, yeah, you've definitely got to be in the mood when it's just, I wouldn't be able to tell you, unfortunately. It's not an artist I listen to a lot. I'm gonna guess the 3 you've listed though are good ones, maybe? Did I like them? I don't know. I loved experiencing the albums, but it's definitely, I really liked part 3 though, didn't I? That was my favorite. So anything on that I probably would go to just because it's a lot more easy for me to, you know, understand. Thoughts on Britney Spears' discography? What do you think about Femme Fatale? I actually haven't heard her discography. However, it's something that I really want to get into. I've obviously heard like, you know, main songs and things like that. The only album I've probably heard is Blackout, which I know is the 2006, like very scandalous album. Other than that, I don't know. So I don't know about Femme Fatale. Should I get into a discography? Let me know down below. In your opinion, is Lady Gaga a living legend? Yes. Absolutely she is. I don't care what anyone says. She's absolutely, yeah, one of the biggest generational, impactful, pop cultural people alive. Would you ever react to Poppy's music? No. Alright, these last two are big uns. They are from my Discord channel, my boys Jake and Adrian. So Jake's one, if your life was a movie, however exciting or boring it would be, what 10 tracks, give or take, would be on that soundtrack and why? What a question. I mean, obviously my funeral songs would all be in there, right, if they're going to be at my funeral, so that's 5 songs. The Adventure, Bittersweet Sympathy, Sigor, Sights, With or Without You. Why? Because they just encapsulate like my essence, my feelings, the strongest emotions that I have. 5 off the top of my head. How Long by the Veronicas, one of the saddest songs that I have heard by them, and just one that really got me through things. Get Over It by Avril Lavigne, obviously, like I said, very similar kind of realms. Happy by Hilary Duff, it's that song that really gets you through it, motivates yourself. Play With Fire by Hilary Duff, because it's a song of, you know, a bit of revenge and things like that. And then Everything I'm Not by the Veronicas, because it's just one of those songs where you kind of compare yourself to someone else, and I think we all do that a lot. So I think, yes, like comparing yourself, getting revenge, being happy, getting over it. How long are you going to feel like this before you be happy? It's all very sad based, but I mean, that's my life, right? A very sad life. I actually think that would be a stellar soundtrack, to be honest. And my movie would be a blockbuster hit. It would need a million sequels. It'd be the highest grossing franchise of all time. You know, we would have a collab. Nev would jump on because, you know, Paramount are screwing her over with Scream 6. I'd get her in my franchise. It'd be a good time. And the last question is from Adrian. Do you prefer concept albums or just standard albums? Do you like it when music kind of flows into each other on an album cohesive? Or are you okay with songs sounding different? Does it depend on the artist? My favorite albums are conceptual ones. I love ones that flow into each other. I love songs that self-reference each other. However, in saying that, I also love them when they're not. It really does depend on the artist. I don't think every artist can pull it off well. The artists that do are generally not really pop commercial ones, so I guess you get that hidden bonus, like, oh my god, this is just so good and not everyone knows about it factor. The album cover, I love it when the artist isn't on it. I love it when it's a name that isn't a track. For me, that just really makes it all. Just ones that have really strong storylines. Ethel's, for example, the storyline is insane. How deep it goes, and both, but absolutely I would have a stronger attachment and pull to cohesivity in songs that just flow into each other. Love that question though, very cool, and I think most people would know the answer from the stuff that I react to, or things that I vibe with the most. I think most pop music isn't that, which is fine because you get a different kind of emotional feeling every time, and I think when they do the same stuff, it gets quite boring, which I guess is why it's not cohesive, because it's the same topic. Anyway, they are my questions. Hope you guys learned something, or I guess it made you think about your own takes on music or your own soundtrack on life, or what you prefer and things like that. As always, love the questions, love reading them. They are also thought-provoking, but I love it that they were quite specific. Very, very cool. If you have any other questions, let me know down below. I'll jump in the comments, I'll answer them. You know me, I love to be in the comments reading your guys' messages, replying. It's my favorite thing to do. Other than that, I'm gonna go edit this, gonna go drink some Red Bull. I'm gonna have a great day. Hope you had a great day, everyone. I'm gonna have a great day. I just said I was gonna. Ben is gonna go.